Ever feel like you're just kind of stuck, like going through the motions,
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we all get that way sometimes.
Well, today we're going deep on this idea.
Okay.
With Ron W Rathbun's notes. He had some really interesting ideas about how to break free from all that.
Okay.
And reach a better understanding, a deeper understanding of, well, everything.
Yeah, I think what I find really interesting about Rathbun is that he sees consciousness as this kind of journey, right? It's not just like you are or you aren't conscious. It's evolving. It moves from like, I don't know, a place of maybe like slumber to a place of enlightenment.
Okay, so it's not static.
No, it's not static. It's a process.
So there's a process, and that process is driven by...
By understanding.
Okay, so understanding is key here.
Yeah.
But what does he even mean by understanding?
Right.
Like, how do we even define that?
It's a big word.
It's a big word, and it's central to his whole philosophy.
It is. It is. It's more than just like book smarts or being clever.
Okay.
It's more like, let me give you an example.
Yeah. Okay.
You could have all the best ingredients to bake a cake.
Okay.
But without understanding the recipe, you're going to end up with a mess, right?
Right. A big mess.
So Rathbun is saying our intellect, our cleverness, it's like having those ingredients.
Right.
But understanding is knowing how to combine them, how to use them in a way that creates something that works, something meaningful.
It's about seeing the bigger picture, how it all fits together. And he talks about this, right?
He does. He does.
Harmonious and disharmonious conceptions.
Right.
He even suggests that our intellect, sometimes, can actually lead us astray.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that work? How can our intellect lead us down the wrong path?
Well, it's like, it's like when you try to force a square peg in a round hole.
Right.
You can try all you want.
Right.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to fit.
It's not going to fit.
And it's going to be frustrating.
It is. It is. That's what happens when we just use our intellect, just our cleverness to come up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We create these conceptions without real understanding.
Okay.
So they're disharmonious conceptions.
It is disharmonious.
Yeah, and those lead to frustration.
So how does that actually manifest? Like, what does that look like in real life?
Well, remember we were talking about that uncomfortable chair the other day?
Right, right. That's a perfect example, yeah.
So it might look good on paper, right? Looks great, you designed it.
Yeah, great design, good on paper.
But it's a nightmare to actually sit on.
Right, yeah. Looks nice, but feels terrible.
Exactly. And Rathbun says this applies to much bigger things as well.
Okay, like what?
Well, like, let's say medical breakthroughs.
Okay, yeah.
So a medical discovery, right, that saves lives, that's a harmonious conception. Someone had the right understanding.
Okay.
But on the other hand, something that's created without that understanding, even if it seems really brilliant at first, right, it could have all these unforeseen consequences.
Right, unintended consequences.
Exactly. So it's like we need that principle of understanding to make sure that what we create is actually good and beneficial.
And Rathbun links this back to self-discovery.
He does.
He's just understanding ourselves.
Yes.
Understanding the conceptions that we create.
Yeah.
It's a big part of moving towards enlightenment.
It is.
So that makes sense. If we're constantly building those uncomfortable compartments in our minds, it's going to be pretty tough to find any inner peace.
Yeah. You're not going to get comfortable, are you?
No, no. And he suggests these experiences, these feelings of disharmony, whether it's like a frustrating project, a personal struggle, whatever, they're actually opportunities.
Definitely it's like this.
Opportunities for growth.
They are.
A chance to step back and say, okay, what's not working here? How can I change my approach?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, you hit a wall and you have to kind of stop.
Reassess,
yeah.
Figure out a new way.
And it might be frustrating at the time.
Oh, yeah.
But it's those moments that push us to learn and grow and find a better way.
It's all part of the process.
It is. It is all part of the journey.
It's not about avoiding the discomfort.
No.
It's about learning from it.
Exactly, yeah.
So, speaking of learning, Rathbun makes this really interesting distinction.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I struggled with this a little bit.
Right.
Conception versus perception.
Right.
What is the difference and why is it so important?
Okay, so he defines conception as that process of creating. Like, remember that chair, designing the chair.
Right.
It's our intellect generating the ideas and the plans.
Okay.
Perception, though, that's about truly understanding, going beyond the surface level.
Okay.
To really grasp what something is, the essence of it.
So it's deeper than just the concept.
Deeper, yeah. I think of it like this. Conception is like sketching a picture.
Okay.
Perception is seeing the world in all its colors and textures.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So we can conceive of like a perfect world.
Yes.
But it takes perception to understand how complex the real world is.
Exactly, yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting because he brings in Kelee meditation.
He does.
As a tool
to
cultivate this deeper understanding.
Right.
Is he saying meditation is like the key to enlightenment?
Well, he presents it as a path.
Okay.
It's a path to this understanding, a way to quiet all the noise in our minds.
Okay.
To create space for these deeper insights to kind of emerge.
So it's about moving beyond the surface.
Beyond the surface, yeah.
Of our thoughts and tapping into a more profound awareness.
Exactly, yeah.
This all ties back to something you said earlier about consciousness being this evolving journey.
Right.
It's about constantly learning and growing and refining our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we do that, as we refine that understanding, we naturally move away from disharmony, all that stuff that causes suffering, both within ourselves and, in the world around us.
And our interactions,
Exactly. And that's where Rathbun sees true enlightenment, a state of harmony, inner peace.
So just to kind of recap here, Rathbun is saying consciousness, that's the starting point.
Yeah.
But it's understanding that fuels that journey toward enlightenment.
It does. It does.
This understanding, that's what helps us create in harmony with the world around us.
Right.
To learn from the disharmony instead of being defeated by it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to use tools like Kelee meditation to really deepen our perception.
Yeah.
To see things more clearly.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in.
It is.
But it offers some really, I think, thought-provoking ideas.
I think so too.
About how to live a more fulfilling, more meaningful life.
I agree. I think he really challenges us to kind of look inward and examine those conceptions that we create to see, are we creating disharmony in our lives? How can we change that? How can we shift?
How can we shift that perspective?
Yeah, and find a greater peace and understanding.
It makes me wonder, how can we apply this not just to our personal lives, but to, the bigger picture?
That's a good question.
As a society, can we use this concept of harmonious conception to build a better world for everyone?
That's something to think about.
It is. It is. Something I'm going to be thinking about, for sure.
Me too.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into consciousness and enlightenment. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep striving for that understanding.